3, I don't want it. Today I want to share a little story with you guys. I went and did my meditation this morning at the lake. When I was doing my meditation, I started to realize that one of the things that we go through is pains, the things that we face off against. And, when you're focusing, when you're in that kind of a place and you're feeling pain, remember that you will pass that pain, that it isn't there to stay, that it's come to pass. And, as I switched legs to the other leg, which I do about 30 minutes on each side, then I do about an hour of standing pose. And so as I switched to legs, I could feel it. And I had to reset myself. Sometimes in life we have to reset ourselves through our challenges. We have to sometimes take a step back, review our challenges, and start to work on them. And so when you are focusing, when you're in that type of a place where you're facing off against challenges, they might be physical, they might be mental, they might be spiritual. Remember that when you step aside, that you will utilize the highest level of intelligence, which is observation, okay? When you observe situations, when you give yourself the space, when you give yourself the time to get within who you are, then you have a chance to overcome your challenges. And so, how does that equate to our everyday? That's a really good question. And I started to sit there and I started to think, wait a minute, you got to keep working at it. As you're working through your challenges, as you're going through your days, as you're facing off against the things that you go through on a daily basis, what is it that are your rituals? What is it, the things that bring you together? What is it that separates you from other people by you being yourself? And so that's the amazing part. And, as I was sitting there and I was doing cross-legged meditation, a lot of people cannot do that. A lot of people cannot sit there with their legs binded for an hour. It's very difficult to overcome those kind of challenges. It takes years, and as we're working through those types of things, are we giving ourselves that kind of space, that kind of time? And I remember doing jiu-jitsu, and I was in San Diego, and I was working with a sensei Julio and in La Mesa, and we were talking about mat time. You got to have the time, you got to sit down, you got to have the patience inside of yourself. A lot of people think that, meditation and yoga are just something that you can do like that. Sometimes it takes patience, my friends, to get through your challenges. It takes patience to understand yourself, to reflect, to observe you, okay? To observe the person that you are, to observe the challenges that you're facing off against. It's not something that can just be learned in one day. I remember spending years and years working with the lotus, working with the breath itself, not even the energy. And so, a lot of people want the energy, but they're not willing to put in the time. They're not willing to sit down with the paperwork. They're not willing to breathe the breaths that it takes to get where they want to be. And you could see this in all kind of aspects. That just happens to be the mastery that I work on. And so anyway, so just to get back to the story here a little bit. So as I was standing there in standing pose, I started to realize that, each pose is a prayer. Each pose that you do is meant to take time, is meant to take patience.